on, party people? Moose here, and I am on a little bit of a road trip. Nothing major, but my good buddy Dave McConnell out at Northwoods Forge is having a class today. He teaches people how to become bladesmiths. And so I'm going to go out there and do a small bit of filming and check it out. Dave was on Forged in Fire. I don't remember if it was season 3 or season 4, but nonetheless, if anybody's really interested and you want to see Dave's work, then you can go check him out at northwoodsforge.com. You can look on my Instagram. You can even look on my videos here. I have done a ton of reviews and talking about Dave's knives, and they're pretty awesome if you ask me. I think that he does incredible work, and having a good knife, we should talk about that, right? We should talk about having a good knife, because everybody should have a good knife. And if you don't have a good knife, well, you should probably get yourself a good knife. I do, my EDC is a SOG. It's just a knife that I really don't care. I keep an edge on it, but if I was to lose it or something along those lines, it's not the end of the world. However, I do carry extra knives with me everywhere I go. I have one on my chest rig in the back there. I have one on my trauma kit in the back of my car. I have one on my body armor. I have one in my emergency bag. I have one basically in every bag that I could imagine grabbing. I keep a very good blade with me. So it's just one of those things that, cheap knives are exactly that. They're cheap. A good knife is amazing, right? It is definitely something that can make or break a situation that you might be in. So, I do love custom-made knives. I think that they speak volumes to your collector status, I guess, if you will, only because, I have other knives too. I've got, military grade knives that, we all know the brands, but having a good solid made knife is paramount. So check him out, Dave McConnell over at northwoodsforge.com. I do actually, like I said, have my camera with me. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do some filming. He's teaching a class today. I think it'll be amazing. It'll be a good time. So I do have some new videos coming out relatively soon. Actually, I think there's one that's going to launch either tomorrow or Monday. Then I have another one on Wednesday. The one on Wednesday I'm kind of looking forward to. It's on fire starting. And then I'm going to be doing another video. So something that somebody asked me the other day, I have taken the majority of my ARs and I have equipped them with LPVOs. And somebody asked me the other day, like, well, what about your red dots? And what about, this and that? And why are you going to LPVO instead of a red dot? And that's a great question, and we're going to be doing a video series on that, but I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. There are pros and cons. The pro to an LPVO is that most of them have a pretty good one magnification or zero magnification, whatever you want to call it, sight picture. The difference between an LPVO that's first focal plane and second focal plane is really a user preference. And I say that because if you have an LPVO and you're running it on 1 power, a lot of times with those first focal planes, the reticle is very small. So unless you're going to illuminate it so that you can actually see what would look like a red dot, it's very difficult. However, the nice thing about having an LPVO, just like a red dot with a magnifier, is that if in fact you do need to go out to further distances, you can adjust the power to shoot those further distances. Doesn't necessarily, you know, take the place of like a long range actual rifle scope, but it's darn close. And when I think about my AR-15s, I think about 100 yards. I'm not going to shoot my AR at a target unless I'm hunting, in which case I'm going to have a regular scope on it, you know, further than like 100 yards. Most of the combat, if you will, that you would be doing with an AR is going to be 5 to 25 yards. 25, yeah, probably the most that most people would think about engaging somebody. So the con to an LPVO is the eye relief, right? So if I have an LPVO on my AR and somebody else needs to utilize that, their eye relief and the way that they hold that gun is going to be different than the way that I do, right? I have longer arms. They might have shorter arms. They might be thinner than me. They might be thicker than me. They might be this or that. So it makes them gathering a sight picture a little bit more difficult. So, as a matter of fact, here's a perfect example. I have a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. It's an AR-15 platform in 22 long rifle from Smith & Wesson. I got that intending to be able to have my son use it for plinking and for me to do some training with, right? It's certainly much cheaper to shoot 6 cents a round than it is to shoot 50 cents to $1.40 a round if I'm shooting my 300 blackout or my 5.56. So it's a great training apparatus as well. However, with an LPVO on there, if I collapse that buttstock down for my son to be able to fit it, his eye relief is going to be a little off. So it's almost better to have a red dot on a rifle like that that I know that other people are going to be utilizing. And if I had to, I could put a magnifier on it. But it makes it easier for him or anybody to grab that AR and be able to utilize it with a red dot. So what I'm doing is I'm actually working with Vector Optics now. I am an affiliate with them, and I am I guess I'm sponsored by them. So they are sending me an LPVO as well as a red dot, and I'm going to be mounting those on the M&P 1522 so that I can try to get it set up to where it's close enough for my son, but he'll also have the ability to use the red dot mounted off the side of the optic. So I'm really kind of looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. It'll be a great plinker for him to be able to go out and shoot some steels, shoot some, pop cans, whatever. It just gives him the ability to switch targets, and, it's important to teach that is, acquiring and switching between one target to another. So I think that'll be pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to spring and getting out there and doing that. So what do you guys think about LPVOs and red dots? Are you guys kind of back and forth on that? Do you guys have specific questions? Is anybody out there and thinking, hey man, I got a question, like, do I want second focal plane or do I want first focal plane? There are pros and cons. Like I said, the one that I'm going to mount to the M&P is a second focal plane. So the reticle doesn't change. It's a dot reticle with crosshairs, and you know, for me, I think that's good, only because nobody's struggling to see the crosshairs, right? It's just going to be for plinking and stuff like that. So what do you guys think? Anybody got any questions or input on that? What's up there? See your wave. And we've got some more AR-15 stuff coming out, as well as some more airgun stuff. I do, you guys saw that I just did something with the new air guns. Those are going to be coming to Airfire Tactical. If you guys are interested in picking up some air guns, check out airfiretactical.com. There's more products coming. It's a new-ish company. It's not new from an aspect of the owner hasn't been selling stuff, but there are some really cool things coming to Airfire Tactical, and I think you guys are going to be pretty darn interested. I just happen to work for them as well as their project manager, but there's some really cool stuff coming up. The koozie air guns that I just did the first video release on are quite impressive, to be honest with you, so far. And we do have 2 more koozies that I'm going to be bringing you guys in the next couple of weeks here. You guys will be able to see more of those videos, and I think you're going to dig it. So nobody's got any questions, huh? Nobody? What do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about something. Let's have this live be something productive. What are you guys thinking about? What do you guys want to see more of? What do you guys miss that you want to see more content on? You guys want to see, you know, more firearm stuff? Do you guys want to see more airgun stuff? Do you guys want to see more, you know, survival stuff, knife stuff? I do have something really awesome coming, and I'm so excited. I have been trying to work with a few companies now that do survival food, and I have teamed up with Nutrition Foods, and they do survival packs of food. You can get all kinds of different stuff, and they have sent me some stuff. It's en route right now, and I'm going to talk to you guys about it, because one thing that has always bothered the heck out of me about like MREs and survival food is, what do they taste like? You know, I mean, are these things actually halfway decent, or am I going to be miserable and I just spent, you know, hundreds of dollars giving my family this this stored food, right? And you know, I have a very picky eater for a son, so it's gonna be, it's always a challenge for me, just because he's such a picky eater. But I think that I'm gonna try to get him to try some of it and just kind of give his honest opinion. So I'm going to be preparing a lot of these meals. I'm going to be putting them out on the YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about, like, hey man, is this stuff, like, is it good, or is it meh, it'll get you by, it'll give you calories, right? Because me personally, I'd rather have something that does both than one or the other, right? I mean, you can have good, but maybe the food isn't necessarily good for you. It just tastes good. So, you know, I want to try out some of these things and tell you guys, you know, like, hey, I can go to Walmart and pick up one of these MREs that they sell, right? Their Walmart branded stuff, and I can be like, hey, here we go. And then we can try that. Or, you know, is it worth the investment into some of this prepackaged 25 plus year shelf life food And honestly, I did a lot of research before reaching out to this company, and they seem to get great reviews. But we'll see. And I think I even have a discount code for them as well. So I think it'll be something that you guys will be able to take advantage of my code and get yourself some of this stuff. And while we stockpile a lot of stuff ourselves, we're prepping, and I want to be clear on prepping. Prepping doesn't mean end of world necessarily. It could mean anything, like COVID, right? We all learned a valuable lesson about panic shopping during COVID, right? There was no toilet paper. That was bad. Now, thank God for us, we never ran out, but there was a time during COVID where we got really short on toilet paper. So we were joining groups on Facebook that would tell us, hey, they're getting a shipment at this Kroger's on this day or this Walmart. And, I'd be there and I'd buy a big pack. But, we all learned a valuable lesson to have that stuff available. Something that I think a lot of people don't think about too is paper plates and paper cups. For the majority of us, you think, I can wash my dishes. Why should I invest in that? Well, that's true, unless there's an issue with water or power and you live on a well like I do, where if my power goes out, I don't have water. It's the old adage, and I'm sure some of you guys have heard this, right before a storm, you fill up your bathtub with water. That way, at least you can take a bucket and flush your toilet if you have to. Now, some of you guys don't run into that because you have city water, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of us that live out in the country where we don't have city sewage and city water. So it's kind of one of those things that, it can go really either way. But, just the ability to have the extra stuff, like I said, like paper plates, if you don't have water, at least you can make a sandwich and not dirty a dish and then have to worry about how you're going to clean that dish. And not only that, but they make great fire starters or even fire logs after the fact. And I am going to be doing a video on that too, because I tried it last year. I took paper plates that we had used and I saved them, right? Like I brushed off the stuff, as long as they were just, they weren't like greasy because I ate, a steak on it or something. But you could, because the grease is flammable too. But cutting them into strips and molding them into like a log and then wrapping them in duct tape, they will actually burn. And duct tape does burn. If you guys don't know that, you can actually use duct tape to start a fire. It's quite amazing. If you just peel it apart and just, get it kind of tindery looking, it will actually burn really, really well. That's why a lot of people carry a little roll of duct tape with them out into survival situations. So if you take duct tape and you wrap your paper plate that you've cut into strips tightly into a log, you'd be surprised at what you can get from that. So just interesting little facts. So they really do kind of twofold. And even plastic cups, just the ability to put some liquid into a cup. If you live like where I do, we have a lot of snow on the ground right now, as you might be able to see in the back picture of the camera. So if I had some plastic cups, I could technically go out to my backyard, take off the top layer of snow, because you don't want bird poop in your water, and dig some fresh snow, bring it into my home and let it melt in the cup, just with whatever heat source you have in your home. You could do it in a pot too, but I'm just saying it's a great alternative to, hey, because a full cup of snow is only going to yield about that much water in the bottom of a cup, but it's enough to keep you hydrated to where you're not doing anything George, well, welcome, man. I'm glad to see you here. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button. In the past I did a lot with air guns, and then YouTube. Honestly, I get asked this question all the time, so I'm just going to throw it out there again. Everybody says to me, like, Moose, why'd you get away from air guns? And it's not that I've gotten away from air guns, but YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, has shadow banned a lot of the airgun channels as well, and mine was victim to that as well. I was gaining on average about 300 to 400 subscribers every 30 days, and then YouTube decided, and I didn't change anything. I didn't break any rules. I didn't get any strikes. But the next thing I knew, I was down to like 50 subscribers every 30 days, and it was almost instantaneous. There was a time that I was making hundreds of dollars a month in my ad revenue, and now I'm down to like ridiculously low money. And it's because their algorithm doesn't like anything to do with Second Amendment or politics or anything else like that. So the unfortunate part for me was, well, how can I help jumpstart my YouTube channel again? And how I did that was introduce firearms. And I gained, because there's a much bigger community for firearms than there is for air guns. It's not that the firearm people aren't intrigued by the air guns, because they are, but it did help jumpstart my channel again. To a point where, okay, all right, now I've got a whole new group of people in here as well, and they're not opposed to the air gun. So I hope that most of my air gun people are not opposed to the firearms. They might not necessarily be your cup of tea, but a lot of the apparatuses that I use for firearms are interchangeable with air guns, including the optics, the ARCA stuff, all kinds of stuff. So it's not a totally different subject. And then as far as like my channel having a lot of prepping stuff and a lot of knives and fire starter stuff, that's something that, honest to God, everybody, and I mean everybody, should be focused on, is being prepared. And once again, it doesn't mean Jesus came back and Armageddon's taking place. But if you look at like what's happening in the world today, right? You've got Texas and 25 states in a standoff right now with our own federal government. And this is government that we were supposed to have elected. Now, we all know that that's not really what happened, but nonetheless, it's still, we're in this coinky-dink where Texas is ready to go to war with the federal government over this border, right? So, be something, yes, because the federal government says, oh, okay, you guys want to do it like that? We're going to raise the cost of diesel so high that nobody's going to be able to deliver everything. We're going to shut down the commerce of what semi-trucks, trains, and whoever else is distributing throughout the country, right? Which would lead to a big shortage, right? So this is all the painting on the wall. So is it better that you're prepared for something like that might last for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months? Yes, it is. I don't want my family to go without, right? I need to feed my son. I need to feed my wife. I need to feed myself. I potentially even need to feed some of my friends or even my community. So having the ability to have that stuff on hand, I live in a very small community that's, it is basically, the majority of the people there are very low income, including a lot of older people, right, from the original town that was here. So can I expect this older lady down the street from me, this grandma, this great grandma that's, making Social Security and doesn't drive and, relies on other people to go get her food and things like that? you know, what about them? You know, they need to eat too. So if I have the ability to say, hey, I've got, well, and these are made up numbers because I don't, but, you know, if I could say, hey, I've got, you know, 2 55-gallon drums full of rice and beans, well, then that's pretty impressive. I gotta check the road here. Okay, feels all right. Looked like it was a little icy. But, you know, nonetheless, it's like, you know, if I have that ability to make beans and rice, then why would I not, right? Why would I not help out my neighbors? Yes, I do care about my family first, but very quickly after that are my friends and my neighbors, right? That's the wonderful thing about living in a small town, is that if in fact something bad happened, we would all come together as a community and community ourselves, right? We have a local police department. I'm on the local fire department. We would take care of our own people, you know, and shut our community down to people coming in and trying to take what we have. So, you know, there's just a lot of pros to living in a smaller community. There's some pros to living in the city, you know, especially if you live in a block where you and your neighbors all get along really well, or an apartment building where you and your neighbors have all, you know, met and know each other. But I think that leads to a community action plan. And we could go on and on. I could talk to you guys all day about the benefits of prepping. And, you know, in prepping, you know, like I have a core group of friends, right? And there's quite a few of us. And we are all armed citizens. We all stockpile and we all have stuff. And we all know that if something bad happens, that we are the regulators. We are going to mount up. We are going to protect our families and our community. And that is something that everybody, every single person out there listening to this should have some kind of plan in place, right? No matter what that plan is, it's important to have something. And that plan should never include, well, my A-list is I'm going to pack up my family and my car and I'm heading to X, Y, and Z 200 miles away, right? That's a bad plan for plan A, right? Plan A should be stay where you are. You are better off in your own home with all of your stuff, keeping the rest of your family as normal as can be, right? That's a big thing, right? Imagine if you have children, taking your children out of their comfort zone, right? Their comfort zone is their bedroom, their toys, their Xbox, their this, their that, their tablet, their phone, their whatever it is. Imagine pulling them out of that and saying, hey, we're going to live in the woods. That, number one, that's a dumb idea. Really dumb idea. Unless you have a cabin out in the woods where, once again, they're comfortable and that's normal for them. But just to take a tent or your camper and go out to the middle of the woods and think, well, I'm just going to survive out here. That's really not a plausible thing for family people. It might be a plausible thing if you're ex-military and, you know, you've done nothing but survival training your entire career. Yeah, you could probably get away with that. But to take your family, right, and your wife, or, you know, and your kids or your spouse, whatever, and put them in a stressful situation, you're going to find yourself in more stress than is feasible for you, right? You're going to be so stressed out worrying about them and putting food. You know, everybody talks about, well, I'll just go out in the woods and I'll go hunting. Well, listen, I hunt all the time, and there's no guarantees that I'm going to hunt anything. And let me tell you, you might be able to get yourself a squirrel, but a squirrel is not going to feed a family of 3. So every day you're going to have to go out and get multiple squirrels, and that's just for protein. You still got to worry about fat. Okay, you live by a lake. Yeah, me too. You know, I live by I live by 3 of the largest inland lakes in Michigan. So yes, we could go out and fish. So now we've got fatty stuff too. Yep, that is feasible. But once again, you know, it's the stress level. So our lakes are close enough that my family can stay at the house where it's comfortable and safe, and I can go out and go fishing or hunting or whatever, and then come home to my home. not to my tent in the middle of the woods in, negative 20-degree weather. That's no fun for anybody. So just little stuff, man. Just throwing it out there, letting you guys soak it all up. But I definitely would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. I'm sure there's something that you've heard in this video that was like, hey man, that makes a lot of sense. Give it a thumbs up then. Let me know that, hey, you're not wrong, Moose, or, maybe I don't agree with that, but I do agree with that. It's still worth a thumbs up. So, like I said, I'm going to be heading over here to Northwoods Forge. I've got about another, what time is it? About another 20 minutes and I'll be there. And I'll post some pics and stuff like that. I'm going to be shooting a cool video, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And we'll be able to bring you guys some cool stuff from him coming up real soon in the future. So anyway, with that being said, check this whole video out. If you joined in a little bit late, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Share the video if you will. Try to help, your friends be able to see what you're seeing. Because obviously, if you're watching this, you've watched the whole thing, then you're interested. So chances are your friends are probably interested as well. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with me. And we look forward to bringing you guys more and more content, and I will talk with you guys all soon. Until then, be good to each other, be good to yourself, and God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.